Hello, everyone. I want to talk about the Academy Awards. This morning, I already set it on my calendar to remind me that the Oscar nominations were going to be read at 5 a.m. 5 a.m. came. I checked, and the YouTube channel for the Oscars, and it said that it was 5 a.m. Pacific time, which was 8 a.m. Eastern time, or like 5:20 and 8:20, whatever. So last year I watched it live on YouTube, and I wanted to do the same thing this year as well. So while I was on my way to work on the bus, I realized it was like 8:30. So yeah, so I clicked on the YouTube live and I watched it, and it was great. Do I remember the people that read the nominees were I'm looking at the Wikipedia page. Why do they not have it on the Wikipedia page? Okay, yeah, it was there. It was Kumail Nanjiani and Tracy Ellis Ross, and I thought they were great because while they were reading it, uh, after one of them had read the nominees for a particular category, they would do this little quippy joke thing, and it was very funny. It was very witty and very funny, and that was great. So, why am I recording this live video right now? I'm recording this video because I am very excited to have Black Panther be nominated for Best Picture. To me, Black Panther was the best picture of the year of 2018. Black Panther is the movie I saw. I saw it 3 times. I saw Black Panther three times. The first time in IMAX. The second time, I forget how I saw it the second time, but the third time was in 4DX. 4DX is where you're in a smaller room. And the chair moves in accordance to what's going on in the movie. So if there's a fight scene going on, you would feel the chair nudging you on at the back of your shoulders. If when the spaceship near the beginning went through this waterfall, they splash water on you, things like that. If maybe you're in a situation where maybe in car chase and you're banking at a corner, your chair would bend that way. So like a mini theme park ride. It was very, very exciting. But what I really wanted to point out is that the movie really got me emotionally. Yeah. I always tell people I cried each time I saw the movie. I cried more each subsequent time I saw the movie. It's quite interesting, right? So like first time I wept, second time I wept more, third time I wept more. Normally you would cry less because you know what's coming, but it really got me. It really was really emotional. I was emotional for some reasons which I would outline here. First was it was a cast of mostly pretty much 98% black people, and not just black people, Africans. And we of African descent can tell when a movie says that these are Africans, but they're not Africans. We know that these people grew up in America. I'm not talking about Black Panther, I'm talking about other movies. We know that these people grew up in America, they're just pretending to be Africans. It is obvious. Also, many African Americans cannot do an authentic African accent, so just get Africans. What's the big deal? You have the budget. First of all, the Africans in America, get them. Or even better, go to Africa, the largest continent in the world. There are literally 50 countries full of Africans. Africans. It's not that hard. Films travel on location all the time. They travel to Italy, they travel to UK, they travel to freaking, various countries and continents. Go to Africa and shoot it. Anyway, so that's always been a pet peeve. This was not the case in Black Panther. Black Panther, everything was authentic. authentic, authentic background characters, authentic actors and actresses. Even the ones that were African American, some of them had were from African descent, like literally, like their mom or dad is African, so they grew up in an African household. It was amazing, and the fact that one of the most successful, if not the most successful, movie studio, which is Marvel, came together and said, "We're gonna give you guys do what you need to do to make this movie good and authentic." And I remember the director, Ryan Coogler, saying something about they did heavy research because I remember he said, "Oh, we went heavy," in an interview uh, at Sway Universe. Check it out on YouTube and be prepared to cry around the middle because it was a very emotional interview session, like a panel session with the leads, about all four of them or something. So anyway, I was emotional about that. The fact that it was an authentic African cast. I love that. And the greatest actors working today. I love that. I loved that it was a father. There was a father-son element to it. I really enjoyed that. And it reminded me with the relationship with my father and my parents in general, because my parents are they still have this element of control, feeling like they can control the children or me, if I may speak for myself. And here's me in my 30s and still telling them stop treating me like a kid, or speaking to them more directly, in a sense, not in a disrespectful way, but in a person to person way, kind of confronting them on at on some of their not I'm thinking of the word weakness, but it's not weakness, but some of their shortcomings. I think that's a better word. Confronting them on some of their shortcomings and saying this is wrong, this is not the way it's supposed to be. Mostly from a culture perspective. African culture expects you to respect your parents no matter what. Well, that's not very fair. If your parents did something wrong, I'm still supposed to respect you for that in that moment. Uh, as opposed to speaking out to say this is wrong. And that line in Black Panther literally happened. He said, "You were wrong," with tears in his eye. I'm talking about T'Challa, and that really mirrored what I've been through with my parents for the last many years. So yeah, I was emotional about that. I was also emotional about, or I really enjoyed the African slash African American dynamic. What do I mean by that? I lived in the US for 9 years, from 2002 to 2011. Maybe it was more, 8 years, because it was January 2002 to January 2011. So it was like 2002 all the way to the end of 2010. So it was more 8 years. Anyway, whatever. So I realized that Africans did not interact with African Americans in the exact same way. And of course, African Americans were brought to the land of America during the slave trade days, and so yeah, so there's a shift in dynamic, yeah, in the interaction there. Some African Americans are a bit ignorant about Africa; they don't know anything about it, and so they tend to think everybody is poor in Africa, whereas the world's richest man is African, but there are a lot of well-to-do people in Africa, and also, they don't think people live in houses, which is absurd to me. I mean, that's weird, yeah. And yeah, Africa is not perfect, and but I cannot generalize the entirety of 50 countries under Africa. You have to treat it country by country, and even within the country, you gotta go, city by city, or tribe by tribe. Speaking of tribe, they really utilize the tribe very well in Black Panther, there were three tribes. I don't know if I remember them. There was the River Tribe, there was the Border Tribe, and maybe the which other tribe? Like the nah, I can't remember. Anyway, so but they really utilized those tribes properly. They depicted the outfits or the costumes that the various tribes wore, and they really signified. They really segmented, like you could tell which tribe belongs to which. So it was very clear. So these are some of the things that were in the background in the movie that really was really authentic, and that's why the costume designer was nominated. And what is her name? Costume. Her name is Ruth Carter, and she was sublime. She's gonna win if she does. I hope the favorite doesn't win because the favorite just came out. Ruth Carter must win for Black Panther because it was well deserved. It was freaking amazing. Also, I want best production design to win because oof, that production just that scene where they went to the big guys towards the end of the movie before the third act. They went to his kind of his throne, and you could see some bamboo hanging from the ceiling, and it was fantastic. Just that scene alone, to me, should nail Black Panther to winning production design by Hannah Beachler. But going back to the things that influenced me, I talked about the relationship between father and son. I talked about Africans and African Americans. I talked about the fact that it was a predominantly African cast, and also it was just a well-made movie. It was a well-told story. Another part where I cried, which I didn't see coming, was when spoiler, one of the Dora Milaje was killed by what's his name, by the villain, and I really teared up because of the reaction of the head of the Dora Milaje, played by what's her name, played by Denai Guerrera. Teared up because her reaction was so real and authentic when she shook her head like this and said, "No, don't kill her." And wow, it was very interesting. And the fact that the Dora Milaje are very special. They've trained for years to become the tip of the spear, as they say, the king's bodyguard and warriors, and one of them just got killed, and that was very sad. So I enjoyed that. I mean, I cried. I cried through those scenes. Even when it was on home video, when I'm watching it at my desk, or when I'm brushing my teeth, or whatever, and various scenes showed up, I would just tear up. I would just cry. So the movie Black Panther had the biggest effects for me this year, and I wanted to win Best Picture. I know, this is the first comic book movie to be nominated for Best Picture. Everybody felt like in 2008, The Dark Knight should have been nominated, but it wasn't. But the Academy knew that when an opportunity came for a movie to be nominated for Best Picture, even though it's a comic book movie, traditional comic book movie, just put it in. If it deserves it, it deserves it. It doesn't matter what kind of movie it is. So I'm glad Black Panther was nominated, and I think I watched the entire nominations being read, and I believe Black Panther was the most nominated. Let me scroll down to the bottom of this page to see. Okay, Roma and The Favorite got 10. A Star Is Born and Vice got 8, and Black Panther got 7. Fine. And interestingly, Roma, and I'm not trying to do a live video on the entirety of the nominations, but I think I remember Roma being nominated for both Best Picture and Best Foreign Film. So that's 2 Best Picture films. So that's kind of like interesting there. I don't remember when last that has happened Usually they just relegate all the foreign films to the foreign film category, but Roma was so good that he said, "You're not just best foreign film, you're also best picture." Um, I expected best cinematography to be. I expected Black Panther to be nominated for cinematography because the camera work was sublime. It was really fantastic. It was, and I'm sure it was on the short list. Um, nah, Black Klansman, no. Cinematography, no, 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 no. All these other guys, the favorite Green Book, Roma, yes, Roma is gonna win best cinematography. Oh, sorry, I was looking at best picture. Let me look at best cinematography. Let's search for that cinema. Okay, you have Cold War, the favorite. Never Look Away, Roma, A Star Is Born. A Star Is Born, yes, had a sublime cinematography. Roma is going to win it because it was pretty freaking. And the fact that Alfonso Cuaron had been working with Chivo, Emmanuel Lubezki, for basically all of his films. I think he learned from him, and Alfonso Cuaron shot Roma himself and was nominated. So, you work with the best for 10 years and you become the best. Now going back to Black Panther, I expected best cinematography there. I also expected best director. How is it possible we have eight best picture films and only one, two, three, four, five best directors? No, the best director made the best picture. So if you're nominated for best picture, be nominated for best director. That doesn't make any sense. Also, how is it possible that you have someone who is nominated for best picture, sorry, best director, but his movie is not in best picture? That's Palikowski. Palikowski for Cold War. He was nominated for best director. He's not in his movie. Cold War is not in best picture. Makes no sense. If Black Panther is, yeah, I think Black Panther is the highest grossing movie domestic US for 2018. But when it comes to worldwide, Infinity War was the highest grossing movie worldwide. And you're not going to put the person that made the film in best director. Right? Did you notice the cultural impact of Black Panther? Yeah. So Ryan Coogler should have been nominated. A friend of mine has joined. Hi, Ayo, how you doing? So since you just joined, I'm talking about Black Panther and how it was nominated for Best Picture at the Academy Awards this morning, and just talking about how it affected me, how the movie affected me. Once I post this, I'll make sure it's available for download, and I think you only have 24 hours to watch. So yeah. Also, I expected it to be under Best Original Screenplay. It's not there. It was a well-written movie. For a movie to be Best Picture, you have to have a good script, and the actors have to deliver those dialogues very well for us to believe and get it, have a connection with the film. So it should have been, it should have had, I guess it wouldn't qualify for Best Original Screenplay because it's an adaptation of a comic book. So, but it should have been in Best Adapted Screenplay. Yeah. Anyway. So I think that's all I wanted to say about the movie Black Panther. It was well made. It had a cultural impact. Had a personal impact to me. I recorded an entire when the movie came out on DVD, on Blu-ray. I recorded an entire commentary track that you can find on my blog, fularino.blogspot.com. Or just Google my name and Black Panther, and I think you might find it. Google Fulani. So there are two movies that have had the biggest impact on me. One was The Matrix, 1999, and fast forward to 2018, almost 20 years later, Black Panther. Lord of the Rings as well, but in terms of really personal, like Black Panther. I was very excited to see it. we all expected it because everybody was talking about it. In fact, the Academy Awards were going to create a best popular film and relegate, and we all knew that they put that in there to try to relegate Black Panther in there. Like, no, it's a great film. Put it in Best Picture. So they canceled. The internet rose up and shouted, and the Academy took out that Best Popular Film nonsense. So, Black Panther, great movie. Amazing that it was nominated. Very happy for Marvel. Very happy for Ryan Coogler. Very happy for the costume designer, for the production designer. I didn't. I'm glad I just remember this. The score. Oh my god, that score was what elevated that movie to the next level. Ludwig Göransson. Ludwig Göransson has scored all of Ryan Coogler's films, all three. What's the first one? The first one happened at that train station in San Francisco. Let me do a few clicks on Ryan Coogler's name and I will see it. All right. So, Fruitvale Station, Creed, and Black Panther. Ludwig Göransson scored all three. And for Black Panther, he traveled to Senegal and various parts in Africa to do research and even record straight from there. I saw some videos about that. That score is my most listened to album of 2018. That score makes you feel like a king, and if you're a woman, a queen, and it's so royal. I subscribed to a music streaming service because of the Black Panther score, because I couldn't find it on YouTube at the time. The only thing I could find on YouTube was the original songs, or were the original songs like the R&B and raps. Was there any rap? I think there was some raps, but the score I couldn't find on YouTube, so I subscribed to Apple for like 8 months before I saw that Apple. Anyway, I didn't like the app, so I stopped subscribing. But and yeah, Ludwig is gonna win. I For score. I hope that the fact that this movie came out almost a year ago, literally 11 months ago, I hope they're not gonna forget that Ludwig had the best score. Black Klansman, I noticed nothing. If Bill Street Could Talk, I haven't seen it. Isle of Dogs, Mary Poppins Returns, Black Panther is gonna get it. If they don't, they're racist. Best sound editing, yeah, give it to Black Panther. Best sound mixing, basically these two usually get the same. A Quiet Place. I want A Quiet Place to win. Okay, so this is what I want to happen. Since A Quiet Place only got sound editing and did not get sound mixing, A Quiet Place is the only movie this entire year where sound is a main character. Literally, sound is a main character in the movie. You have to be quiet, otherwise the friggin' monsters will get you. So the sound of this movie is really important to the story. It's literally upfront. It's not in background. It's really upfront. So I want and the people that edited it, sound for Transformers. And I know Transformers is crap, but the sound is really tight. So I want those guys to win best sound editing, and then leave best sound mixing to Black Panther. Kind of like divide it, and share the gold. Um, there was no they did not get best makeup and hairstyling, so I feel like they should have. I don't know. So that's all I'll say for now. I don't know. I think this might have been 20 minutes long or 25. But yeah, Black Panther, very happy. Very, very happy. It's the movie I've spent the most amount on in theaters in my entire life, because I saw it 3 times, and each subsequent time I saw it, I paid a little more money for it. And the only movie I've seen more than twice, besides Black Panther, is Avatar, but that was way back in 2009, and based on the dollars, based on inflation, Black Panther, I spent the most money, nominal amount, for Black Panther, and I was very happy about that because the money went to. I know it didn't. Well, the money paid the black people's bills, but and this is very stupid. Even though I know predominantly white people are at Marvel, but there's a black executive producer there as well, and so there's representation. So I was very excited. All right, guys, thanks for listening. Or one person, Ayo, thanks for listening.